How did you change your family's generational tradition? My family had this tradition that every daughter in the family was expected to follow. At 21, you married the man your parents chose. Not suggested, chosen. My grandmother did it. My mom did it. My older sister did it. Every woman in our family married into these carefully arranged families that were supposedly respectable and secure. The men always came from rich families. The women were expected to be obedient. That was the tradition. Growing up, nobody questioned it because the women in my family acted like surviving. It was some kind of achievement. My mom used to tell me, "You'll understand when you're older. Love fades. Stability matters," which honestly sounded like something you say after giving up. When I turned 20, the pressure started immediately. My parents began setting up these formal dinners with sons of family friends. Every dinner felt like a job interview where I was the product being evaluated. Smile more. Talk less. Don't sound too opinionated. Don't embarrass us. One guy actually asked my father if I knew how to cook before he asked me what I did for work. And my dad answered for me. That was the moment something in me snapped. Because I realized this wasn't tradition. It was ownership with better marketing. Then I met Daniel, completely by accident. I spilled coffee on his laptop at a bookstore cafe and nearly had a heart attack. But instead of freaking out, he started laughing and asked if I was okay because apparently I looked more panicked than he did. And for the first time in my life, I talked to a man who treated me like an actual person instead of somebody's future wife. We started dating in secret for almost a year. I knew my parents would never accept him because Daniel wasn't rich, didn't come from some important family. And worst of all to them, he encouraged me to think for myself. So when my parents finally introduced me to the man they had chosen for me, I already knew I wasn't going through with it. But I stayed quiet because I wanted proof, and I got it faster than I expected. One night, I came downstairs for water and heard my father talking to my uncle in the kitchen. He said, "Once she marries him, the business merger is locked in. After that, her opinion won't matter." I genuinely felt sick, not heartbroken, not angry, just disgusted. Because they weren't arranging marriages out of culture or love or stability. The daughters in my family were basically negotiation tools. So I made a decision right there in that hallway. I was going to be the last woman this tradition ever touched. For the next month, I played along perfectly. Dress fittings, engagement photos, family dinners. I smiled through all of it. Meanwhile, Daniel and I were quietly planning everything. The night before the wedding, I packed 2 suitcases and hid them in my best friend's car. Then came the ceremony. Huge venue, hundreds of guests. My mother crying happy tears. My father looking smug like he'd just closed a business deal. And right as they opened the doors for me to walk down the aisle, I stopped, turned around, and handed my bouquet to my little 12-year-old cousin. Then I looked directly at my father and said, "She deserves better than this tradition." Dead silence. You could hear people whispering across the room. Then I walked out, not ran, walked. Daniel was waiting outside in this terrible old car that barely started half the time, and I swear it was the happiest moment of my life. My dad called me 19 times that night. My mom left voicemails crying about how I humiliated the family. My grandmother sent me a 3-page letter saying I destroyed generations of honor. But 2 weeks later, my little cousin texted me something I still have saved. She said, "I didn't know we were allowed to say no until you did."